The name of this tutorial is Ira Krakow's Python 3 Tutorial Part 1, Assignments. The goal of this tutorial is to introduce Blender users, whether or not they are programmers, to Python 3. Blender 2.5 supports Python 3 scripts, which can let you program Blender behavior very precisely. Of course, before you can create Blender scripts, you need to know Python 3. We'll use the Blender 2.5 scripting environment, which includes a Python console that supports most, but not all of Python 3. I will point out where Blender's Python implementation differs from the standard Python 3 distribution. There are minor differences, but none that should prevent you from writing fully featured scripts in Blender 2.5. Before working through the examples in this tutorial, you need to download Blender 2.5, and you can do this from blender.org, and I have the link in the notes. This series is based on the Python 3 tutorial at docs.python.org. It's not meant to cover all aspects of Python 3. I will cover enough so that you should be able to write Python scripts in Blender 2.5. This tutorial, the first in my Python 3 programming series, will cover the Blender 2.5 Python console, how to create simple expressions and assignments, and how to use the Python 3 console as a calculator. We'll go into more depth in further tutorials. So let's get started. Start up Blender 2.5. I'm using the version most current, which right now is Blender 2.5 Alpha 2. We're not going to be doing any 3D modeling or game design. Instead, we'll go to the scripting setup, which you can select from the drop-down at the top row. Place the cursor in the lower left window, the Python console, and press Control down arrow to make it full screen. That's where we'll stay. First, note the 3 greater than signs. This is the Python console prompt. As you type, make sure that the cursor is inside the console window. Otherwise, what you type won't print. From the console, we can enter a line of Python code and see it run. We'll write the traditional first line of code, which prints hello world on the console. So enter print, parentheses, double quote, hello world, double quote, close parentheses. On the console is the text hello world in blue. Congratulations, you've written the first Python script. Note that you need to enclose what you want to print in parentheses. This differs from earlier Python versions, notably the Python 2 version that's included with Blender 2.4x, which do not require the parentheses. Let's type what would have worked in Python 2 and Blender 2.4x and see what happens. You get an error, a syntax error. This is Python's console's way of telling you that you made a coding error. The message is a bit mysterious. What Python is trying to tell you is that there was an error on line 1. Okay, that's the only line in the code. And there's something wrong with the string. At this point, just remember that you need the parentheses for the print statement. In Python, a string like hello world can get assigned to a variable. To assign the variable x to hello world, enter x equals double quote hello world double quote. It appears that nothing happened. You get the 3 greater than signs prompt again, but actually space to hold the contents of the variable x was created in memory, and the variable x was assigned the string hello world. Now, instead of printing the string, you can print the variable contents as follows. Print left parenthesis x, right parenthesis. There are rules for variable names. One is that the variable name must start with a letter. Let's see what happens when we try to print the contents of the variable y. So enter print left parenthesis y, right parenthesis. This time Python tells us that the variable name y is not defined. You get a name error. So if you want Python to print the contents of a variable, it needs to be assigned as x was. By the way, you don't need to code the print function with the parentheses. If you want to print the contents of the variable, you can simply enter it. Just enter x and then it prints hello world enclosed in single quotes. The single quotes around the contents of x means that its inside is the contents of the variable x. Python variable names are case sensitive, which means that capitalization counts. So entering print left parenthesis capital X, right parenthesis, produces another name error message that capital X is not defined. In the Python world, these error messages are called exceptions. We'll talk about exceptions in a later tutorial in more detail. For now, it's Python's way of saying you made a mistake. If you enter a number, a whole number or a decimal, Python treats it just as if you entered it in your calculator. So you can enter 5 times 9 and get 45. Python calculates the answer as if you entered the numbers in a calculator. You can use the standard symbols plus, minus, divide, a slash for divide, and star for multiply, as well as double star for power. There are other symbols. I'll point out an interesting one related to division. If you type 5 divided by 3, or 5/3, you'll get 1.666667. This is the standard division symbol. There's another one with the 2 slashes called integer division. So if you type 5//3, you get 1. You just get the integer part of the division. If you do a no-no like dividing by 0, for example, 5/0, you get another error message, a 0 division error. Refer to the Python 3 documentation at www.python.org for more symbols, which are called operators. The pound sign is a comment. Comments document your code. Anything after the pound sign is ignored. You'll see why comments are important when you write longer programs than the one-liners. In the text editor, you can enter X, pound sign, this is a comment, and you get back hello world, because that was what was assigned to X. The text after the pound sign, the comment symbol, is ignored. Just entering the comment, pound sign, this is a comment, gets you the prompt again. Once you assign a value to a variable, you can use it. Here's an example. Width equals 20, height equals 5 times 9, and then enter width times height, and you get 900. 45 times 20. A value can be assigned to several variables simultaneously. X equals Y equals Z equals 20, and then look at X, you get 20, Y equals 20, and Z equals 20. A special character, the underscore, prints the last calculation. Thus, entering X times 5, you get 100, 20 times 5, and then the underscore also produces 100, the last calculation. There are some special functions that relate to numbers. For example, you can use the round function to round a number or expression to a specific number of decimal places. So round 3.159256 whatever, comma 4, you'll get 3.1416, pi to 4 places. This concludes part 1. We've covered a lot of ground. We were introduced to the Python console, how to print literal strings and assign them to variables, how the Python console behaves when there's an error, and how to use Python as a calculator. In the next tutorial, we'll go into more detail about string handling, a key part of Python programming. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe via YouTube and discuss it at forum.irakrakow.com. Happy blendering and happy Python programming.